Hello and welcome to the 31st episode of Fresh Off the Reel. My name's Lib,
My name is Pat from the future.
and today we're talking about one of my favorite movies of all time, Back to the Future from 1985, directed by Robert Zemeckis. You know the one. It's
Yeah.
it's got incest in it, like Pat pointed out last episode for some reason.
Listen, you're the one with the taste. Okay, you have two. All I'm saying is, two of your favorite movies just happen to include incest. You could make what you will with that
You
information.
could make an argument with Star Wars. It doesn't really have it.
I don't know about that one, Chief. It's because Luke didn't know. Doesn't change much.
Well, like they didn't do anything in the first. Oh yeah, she kissed him.
It's not the only time something happened. It's only in the first one. What do you mean?
No, in the second one, they kiss on the lips.
Isn't that not in A New Hope? How
No,
long has it been?
In A New Hope, they kiss on the cheek. We watched A New Hope in May.
Like, yeah, man, my brain is not working. Clearly, I need to rewatch Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah, you do. Also because it's a masterpiece.
and because there's literally a poster of it on my wall behind me, and I don't remember scenes from it, so there's a problem.
Yeah, and then Han Solo gets really mad because she's like, "Whoa, he's like, whoa, I thought she liked me, not you."
It's okay. Han gets her in the end. Also, they're siblings, but Han gets her in the end.
Yeah.
It's a
Anyways,
weird. This is a weird tangent.
let's with right at the beginning of the episode, let's do it. So we're gonna talk cinema here because this is actually like in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I'll get you the exact number real quick, but I believe it's number 7. If I just go right here,
It is also one of my favorite movies. I think, generally speaking, most people love this movie. I don't really hear a lot of negativity towards this one. It's pretty good.
it's number 5. I undershot. But anyways, we've done 3 reviews now of my favorite movies. We've done Everything Ever All at Once and La La Land. Now we did Back to the Future. We might do some more. Uh, oh no, we didn't do that yet. I was about to say one, but we didn't do that yet. Yeah, there we go.
Potential spoiler averted.
Let's read the synopsis here. This is from Letterboxd. Okay, here we go. He's the only kid ever to get into trouble before he was born. Is that actually the tagline? I've never fucking heard that before.
That's actually like a pretty good tagline.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. Okay, here
I've
we
never heard that before, but I kind of like it.
yeah. 80s teenager Marty McFly is accidentally sent back in time to 1955 and inadvertently disturbing his parents' first meeting and attracting his mother's romantic interest. Marty must repair the damage to help with. Oh, wait. Repair the damage. I skipped a line. Repair the damage to history by rekindling his parents' romance and, with the help of his eccentric inventor friend Doc Brown, return to 1985.
You know, it's kind of like I'm totally stealing this from John Mulaney, but it's really weird that he's just friends with this this doctor, this
Yeah,
scientist.
they never explain
It's
how they
not
met.
explain how they met. You could argue that, like, because time travel, they're friends, right? But like the time travel, like, maybe Marty was always meant to go back in time, right? Because of the rules of time travel. So like he and Doc Brown are friends because Marty met with him 30 years in the present when they were closer in age. So when they met, when they're supposed to meet, Doc Brown was like, "Oh yeah, I know this kid. We're friends now." I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Maybe that's it. But like he is a doctor. Maybe he was like his teacher or something.
Maybe
I don't know.
it's just weird that they never like call any attention to it at all. You're supposed to accept that the 16-year-old is friends with
A
this
mad
90-year,
scientist.
yeah, mad 80-year-old scientist who's actually insane,
And
like
the
actually a little crazy.
he is very much insane. I mean, he spent his whole
Uh,
life trying to build a machine that he wasn't even sure would work.
but maybe he wanted to build a time machine because Marty went back in time with it, and he made it work, and it did a loop. Multiverse theory is a lie. Marty is stuck in an infinite loop.
Yeah, I think yeah. I mean, the movie kind of proves it, and even because he goes back slightly before he originally goes back in time. So that would mean if the loop kept going, then 5 minutes before one Marty would show up, another one would show up. But 5 minutes before that, another one would show up, and they would keep going forever, right?
That's gonna be in the reboot.
Yeah, which
And
which hopefully isn't happening.
it'll be called Back to the Future 2, but it's TOO.
And it's about
it's
the other Marty McFly.
Yeah.
Played by a different actor.
No, CGI'd to make it look younger. Because Hollywood likes to do that these days.
Before we get into the nitty gritty, I just wanted to mention that yes, we are doing Back to the Future 2 and 3. We're gonna make this a trilogy, much like the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy that we did, but not as close together. We're not doing all 3 episodes one after another. We're gonna spread this out like what we were supposed to do with the Cornetto trilogy, but we've only done one of them still.
Yep, and it's been a long time.
It has been a really long time.
We will be back with the next Cornetto movie at some point.
Yeah, at some point. Actually, today we even pushed it further back. So
who knows when we're talking about the world's in Hot Fuzz?
We'll never know. It's every time we're like, all right, next week we're talking about Hot Fuzz. Oh, looks like Lightyear comes out. All right, we're gonna do that first. Oh, now Thor: Love and Thunder. Oh, something else. Anyways, one day we'll talk about it. Who knows when?
Just like one day, Marty arrived back in 1985 and shenanigans ensued. That's a segue.
That's a segue to what this movie is about, which is a teenager who he doesn't. I don't know if he has sex with his mother.
He doesn't. He does not have sex with his mother in this movie. It is made very clear that he does not have sex with his mother.
It's made very clear that he does not want to have sex with his mother, but his mother. She found him on the street. She found him on the street and then put him in her bed naked. Why was he naked?
How about we not get into the implications of that scene. Yeah, it's funny because earlier in the movie, like in Marty's timeline, Marty's talking to his parents. Because his dad is like a huge wimp who's getting bullied by his high school bully, but like as an adult.
Yeah, still as an adult.
Which is only a thing in movies, by the way. The 80s were wild.
Yeah, no, like this doesn't fucking happen. Like I met one of my elementary school bullies like accidentally at work a couple weeks ago. Cool guy, actually.
This man was getting like bullied, like picked on like a child by his high school bully.
Yeah.
And like there's like a comment made by the mother who's like, "Oh, I only married your father because he pushed me out of the way of a car and saved my life." And like he got hit, so I felt bad for him, and we fell in love with an Asterix.
Yeah, that's how they met, and that's how they
met.
Asterix fell in love, because in Marty's original timeline, they're not really in love.
Yeah, like she loves him because he's something she could look after, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's pity. It's pity, really.
And they had 3 kids for some reason.
They had 3 kids for some reason, but when Marty goes back in time and he saves her instead. Well, he saves him.
Yeah, because what he was actually doing was he was being what are they called?
A peeping Tom.
A peeping Tom. He was why did I forget that? He was being he was spying on his future wife undressing, and then he fell out of the tree and landed in the fucking street, and that's how he almost got run over. But this time, instead of I think it was, what's her name? Lorraine? Is that yeah, Lorraine. Instead of
it's Lorraine, but I was thinking Loretta this whole time.
Yeah, Loretta.
No, he gets hit by the car in the original timeline.
Yeah, but this time, Marty pushed him out of the way, and Marty gets run over.
Yeah. So Lorraine pities him instead, and she really wants her son. I was really trying to come up with like a joke, like a funny segue or something, but no, like just straight up, she wants to plow her son.
Oh. She doesn't know. She's not even.
yeah. She doesn't know, but
He
man,
knows
he does.
fully.
He knows, and he is not interested.
They. She almost kisses him. It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. That's the setup for this movie, by the way.
Yeah, that's the
So
setup.
Doc Brown creates time travel because he's bored.
Out of a DMC DeLorean.
Yeah. Because he's bored and because he accidentally drew something as a child that kind of inspired him to create time travel. So he creates time travel. There's like the Swedish mafia or something. There's like some
Yeah,
gang
the Swedish mafia.
who like who sold him plutonium and kill him, which leads Marty to accidentally going back in time and causing himself to not exist. So he has to spend the rest of the movie trying to get his parents to fall in love.
So that he can exist.
And then he makes it so that a white man wrote Johnny Be Good.
Yeah. Okay, now you're just stealing the John Mulaney joke.
That was the John Mulaney joke.
Yeah,
At the end. The rest of that was genuine.
you could have
This
pulled
movie
it
is
off.
weird. This movie is weird.
This movie is weird, and I love it. It's. I mean, five
really
out of
fun.
five, honestly. Like,
It's a really fun time. Like this movie has like a lot of charm that the other two sequels just don't have.
yeah,
And they really go all the way with this wacky concept. It's really cool when you just don't think about it too hard. Because
I'm just.
this movie gets worse the more you think about it. But like you're not really supposed to think about it.
You just
You just have
turn
to
you
be
turn
there
your
for the
brain
ride.
off. You remember it came out in 1985, and then you watch it.
This is a weird movie for the '80s too, because like
It is, yeah.
you wouldn't think. I mean, I wasn't there, right? But you wouldn't think people in the '80s, especially like this is supposed to be like a family movie, right?
Yeah,
Like you know,
it's supposed to be like a family movie, but it's like
yeah,
it's a sci-fi movie, and in the 80s
yeah,
that wasn't well, I mean,
yeah,
Star Wars popularized it, but it still wasn't a big thing. Like if liking comic books and liking Star Wars was still like nerd, you stupid, you
yeah.
know.
But like, you also wouldn't think that parents would take their kids to see something with a story like this. Like, but it did really well.
It's I'm gonna take a quote from some guy that I found on Letterboxd. His name's Matt Lynch on Letterboxd wrote this. This movie is so structurally perfect that it might have ruined movies.
It's true though. This movie, like structurally, is perfect. Everything flows together so well. And just before we move on, and we're talking about stealing things, is I was about to say something, and then I realized, like, I'm not even thinking that I was stealing another John Mulaney joke about this movie.
Go
But
ahead.
I was gonna say, like, it's not like Marty's cool either, right? Like, Marty's kind of a loser.
Why
So
does he
like,
wear this red vest everywhere?
so like, kids like wouldn't get behind him. Like you'd think if they were doing a movie like this, he'd be more of like a Ferris Bueller type character, right? But he's not. He's a huge loser.
I
And I
have
guess it's supposed to be like the similarities to like his father, right? Because like Marty is basically like the '80s equivalent to his '60s father or '50s father. It's just like how the dynamic kind of evolved throughout time. Marty is kind of a loser, but
yeah.
he's a loser for different reasons than his father was. But yeah, you'd think with a story like this, they'd make the main character really like cool and like charming and whatever. But he's really not.
Yeah, he doesn't even wear sunglasses.
This movie, but with a Ferris Bueller type. That's the joke I was gonna steal from John Mulaney, by the way, which is the Ferris Bueller comparison.
Yeah.
If Marty was more like Ferris Bueller, this movie would be completely different. But I don't even know if it'd still be good. I think Marty being who he is makes the movie what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, in the
Cha-
movie he has a girlfriend in the movie, but it if he didn't have that girlfriend, he'd be 100% straight up wimp, just like his father.
yeah.
Honestly, I'm
It's
surprised
like
he even has a girlfriend.
it's like he Marty's like the dorky kid who wants to be popular, kinda, right?
I mean,
So
he
like
mentions
he's
Star Wars in the movie. He watches Star Wars.
yeah, but like he watched Star Wars, which like in at the time if you watch Star Wars, you were a huge nerd, right? And Marty kind of looks and acts like someone who read comic books in the 80s. So like
I think there is comic books in his room if we ever see his
there
room.
probably is. If you see his room at the beginning, but he's a big music head, so maybe he's like he wants to be cool and he has cool interests, but he's kind of a huge dork like his father.
Yeah, and you know, at the beginning of this movie, because we were talking about how structurally perfect the beginning of this movie is just so absolutely perfect in every
Yeah, it
way.
is.
Like
It
the right, like right before they go to the parking lot and start doing all the time travel stuff, like all the setup with we see his family and like his father's a wimp, he's still getting bullied by Biff the bully, and his wife's like she doesn't really care anymore, you know.
she's like just a drunk chain smoking. She doesn't care anymore. Or she doesn't seem to care about her kids either.
Yeah,
Like
and Marty's brother and sister are both like washed up people.
yeah, like they're like a washed up family of just in general, right? Who are like none of them are happy except like Marty's trying to find happiness in his life, whereas everyone else is kind of given up.
And we like the mother tells the story of like how the father, like how her and the father met. I keep forgetting George, my god, he's like the main character, and like okay, like how Lorraine and George met with the car crash that we were talking about earlier. And it's like it's such an amazing scene, just like putting building the blocks, and then they all get toppled down because after the ending everything changes, but we'll get to that.
The setup for this movie is genuinely perfect. Like I can't think of another movie that like whose intro is as strong as this one, and it stays consistent throughout the entire movie. There isn't like a single beat to this song. Haha, it's a joke.
Yeah.
That feels off, right? Like everything flows together perfectly. There isn't anything you could cut. There isn't anything you would add. It's all held together perfectly. It's great to see.
Yeah, and the, the
You
the
just you
the
just don't
one
see
thing,
movies like this anymore.
it's the one thing that throws everything off is that fucking Swedish mafia. They just come
Yeah,
out
that's
of
that's so weird.
nowhere.
That's such a weird thing. But it adds like urgency to the end of the movie because like when the movie is wrapping up, or at least the time travel subplot is wrapping up, Marty's like, "Oh shit, right. The Doc Brown's dead.
Yeah, I have to go
let's
save him.
let's try to save him." And like that kind of hits you with like it kind of hits you like whiplash, but it's weird, but like it weirdly fits.
Like I feel
It's
like
like, yeah,
because I
I'm on
saw
board.
people were like, instead of the Swedish mafia, just have like the government try to come kill him. But then it's like, but then there's no tying the knots after that because the government's obviously gonna have him on a hit list or something like that, right? So they're gonna keep
Yeah.
trying to kill Doc Brown.
Yeah.
Like the only way it could work is if it's something stupid like the Swedish mafia.
And it being as dumb as it is, and like it kind of it works because
That's the only thing.
the whole movie is kind of dumb. Like it's the movie's intelligent. Like the way it portrays time travel and the way it goes about dealing with problems and stuff is smart. But the movie in concept is kind of dumb. So like it having this weird plot point that like is really stupid, kind of it makes it work.
Like honestly, if this movie didn't have like a an S tier fucking soundtrack, if it didn't have that, if it didn't have like a good editor or a director that's like done this before, it would have been on the same tier as like Sharknado on how terrible it is. Like it just
That's
take this exact
that's the
story,
thing.
but from a director that doesn't know what he's doing. That it's just if you look at it by its own, like if we were like film purists and like movies that to be made like this, you know, like really hardcore critics, this movie would suck if we looked at it like that. It would be like a 1 star because it'd be dumb and stupid.
Yeah. I think if this movie was ever like if this movie was done by anybody else, it wouldn't work as well. And if this movie was remade, I don't think they'd be able to capture the charm of it. That's why the other two sequels just like don't work because the original concept is so like dumb and like, but that it can't. Even though there is like room for sequels, and obviously like, this movie has sequel bait at the end, like there is room to grow. But because the concept is so like just dumb, and the way they handle it is so like kind of stupid, like it's just if anyone else did it, and if it was anything more than just this one movie, it just wouldn't work as well.
No, it
That's
wouldn't.
why. That's why the other two movies aren't good.
Yeah, whoa, whoa,
This,
whoa. It's not that they're not good. They're still good.
they're like average at best.
Man, I still think the second one's like 4 stars.
It's fine. I think two is fine. I think three sucks.
Yeah, I don't like 3.
I don't think anyone likes three.
No, I saw a video on YouTube that was saying how 3 is the best one, and I was like,
That's not right. That's
So
wrong,
I watched
actually.
the video and brings up some good points, but because he was saying how the writers of Back to the Future always wanted to do this but a western, but they just didn't have the money for it. Like the Back to the Future 1 was supposed to be 3, to put it in perspective. One
Oh,
was
okay.
supposed to be 3. This was supposed to be a
Okay.
western.
Could have been a weird western.
Yeah. Like it was only after the western idea got turned down that the 1955 idea came up where he has to bring his parents back together.
Yeah, I'm surprised this was okayed at all. If this was pitched to be a western, like there was no way this was getting off the ground.
Yeah, a western with a DeLorean in it. Back to the Future 3 is no better. It has a flying train, but still.
I would have loved to hear this pitch.
Me too.
Because I think if this wasn't pitched as like a family movie, I'm trying to think of like a genre, but it's escaping me right now. But if this wasn't pitched as a family movie, I can't see any studio like be like, yeah, okay, let's do this. This is a weird zany time travel movie. But yeah,
But
it's like all the stars aligned for this one, and it's just a good movie.
it really paid off. It's like one of the best. Again, I keep saying it, but I just have to tell you, it's one of the best movies I have ever seen. The writing is so unbelievably perfect. The music is so fucking like it makes you want to dance. That you
Yeah,
ever listen to Power of Love? That's
yeah,
a
this
good
movie's
song.
known. I was about to say this movie's known for Power of Love and Johnny Be Good. Great songs.
Well, I mean,
Great.
Johnny Be Good wasn't written for this. Power of Love was, but
No,
like,
no, no, I know, but they're the two famous songs from this movie.
yeah. And I just want to take this time to rant for 2 seconds that the Marty McFly cover for Johnny Be Good was on Spotify, but now it's gone. Uh, put it back, cause that's a good cover. Thank you for that time to rant. Thank you.
No,
What do you mean no?
I think we said like after because we watched this movie together. By the way, for people listening,
Yeah.
and after the movie, we said we were gonna. Because I've like the only time I've heard that cover was for the movie. And I didn't even know it was like for the movie. I thought it was just another cover. Like I didn't know it was the actor singing, right?
Well, I don't think it's Michael J. Fox singing. I think it's somebody else. But that was on Spotify at a point, but not anymore. Not
But we
anymore.
said we were gonna listen to it, and we didn't because we got distracted like usual.
Yeah. Well, we'll listen to it after this episode, after we're done recording. If we don't
Unless
get
we get
distracted.
distracted because we have Obi-Wan to watch.
Yeah, we gotta watch Obi-Wan, but moving on, let's talk about the story, because we only touched the very beginning. We only touched up until he gets run over, almost run over. Well, he did get run over. God, fucking I'm dumb. Okay, let's begin. So, after Marty McFly is run over by the car, Lorraine, okay, now we're at the scene where Pat told me to shut up. But this is I think she did have sex with him.
I really hope not.
I hope not, but I think she did. Like honestly.
I feel like if they did, they would have. I mean, maybe they didn't put any attention on it because
It's still a
they
mother and
you
his
still,
and her son.
yeah, yeah. There's still like some kind of self awareness from on the scriptwriter's end, but like I feel like they did it. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, whatever. But now she's basically in love. She calls him Kelvin Klein for the rest of the movie because the company Kelvin Klein doesn't exist yet in 1955, but his underwear says it. So now she thinks his name is Kelvin Klein, which might mean that Marty McFly in the second universe, Marty McFly is tied to the creation of the Kelvin Klein company, maybe.
Or maybe the company is never made because of the butterfly effect.
Oh yeah, maybe the company's never
And
made.
in Marty's new present, there's no Calvin Klein underwear.
I don't
What a
know. We'll
tragedy.
see. We'll see in the reboot. The
What
hypothetical
a
reboot.
tragedy.
So now the movie becomes Marty has to get Lorraine and George to fall in love, and at the beginning of the movie, the mom Lorraine says that they fell in love when they kissed at the dance that at the prom or whatever it was. So now the whole movie is that he has to get them in love and to kiss at that dance. And the setup for that is so funny. I don't want to get into it because it's gonna spoil like the whole movie. So
Yeah, because that's like the whole like second act of the movie is dedicated to Marty trying to get his dad to ask his mom out to the prom.
yeah, and
But
we get to see Biff when he was young and how this bullying started. And yeah, that doesn't happen in real life. Like that's a
it's
fucking
always
psychopathic fucking bully.
yeah,
He has issues.
like I'm sure bullying to this scale has happened. Like kids can be pretty cruel. I just think it's really funny when we see it in these kind of movies, and especially funny when it's still happening in this man's like 40s.
Like we get it. George is a wimp, but can he not stand up for himself? I mean, I guess he's too scared to. But what? This can't happen. But anyways, it's really funny to see past the 1955 version of Doc Brown, who's somehow even crazier than how he is in the future. Like the way Christopher Lloyd moves around and speaks, it's amazing. This might be the performance of his career.
Oh, I definitely think it's the performance of his career. Like he's famous. Like this role, this performance is famous. It goes beyond the movie's already big, but this performance goes beyond the movie.
It really
Like like
does.
like everybody knows Doc Brown. Like if you see the Doc Brown like archetype character, like you know what this is what it's referencing. Even if you haven't seen the movie for some reason, if you see this character archetype, you know it's referencing Doc Brown, or you know it's referencing Back to the Future.
Yeah, it's just it's referencing Christopher Lloyd playing Doc Brown. I mean, there's even there's a I don't know if you ever seen A Million Ways to Die in the West,
Unfortunately,
but there's a cameo of Christopher Lloyd where he's playing Doc Brown. Cause the Seth MacFarlane character, I forgot his name. He opens a barn and there's a DeLorean in there, and Doc Brown's in there like, close the door, or something like that. It's a really funny cameo, but why is it in the movie? Who knows? But that was
oh
actually
no.
Christopher Lloyd. Now back to the movie, Back to the Future. That was a terrible joke. We're gonna skip over the second act because that's like the entire movie pretty much. Like it,
Well, the second act is fun from it's just fun to see these two characters interact, and you get to see like Marty kind of explore 1955 Hill Valley, right? And it's cool. There's a lot going on there,
yeah,
and it's just it's cool to see like all Marty's attempts to get his dad to ask his mom out failed because his mom is so like in love with him. It's so weird, but it's so funny. It's like it's genuinely funny to watch. This movie's hilarious.
yeah. And Marty also may have accidentally invented the skateboard. Yeah,
True. No, I didn't think about that. You're right.
yeah. Exactly. I didn't know that either until I watched this movie with my parents, and my dad was like, you know, skateboards didn't exist back then. I was like, what? How hard is it to invent that? It's just four wheels on a board.
Yeah, but it was probably thought to be like too dangerous, right? In the
Yeah,
50s.
probably. I mean, bikes existed for like since like the 1600s.
Yeah, but bikes have handles, right? So
Yeah, yeah. You're right.
like yeah, like there's something to like hold on to and keep you safe or keep you like up.
I mean, I like. I'm gonna be honest with. I don't know how to ride a bike. But I do know how to ride a skateboard, which is really weird. Like
That
you feel like you
that
do
is
one
really,
before the other, right?
that is really weird. You think you do one before the other, yeah.
I don't know how to rollerblade either. Which you'd think rollerblading would be very similar to skateboarding, but it's not.
I'm afraid of tripping and dying on those things.
Me too, because like the stoppers are at the front, right? And you got to kick kind of to go forward. Like, what if you
Yeah.
accidentally and you tripped and fall? I mean, that's why you need to wear a helmet. Always wear a helmet.
You know who doesn't wear a helmet? Marty. And Marty gets sent to the past, so don't be like Marty.
Yeah, don't be like Marty. Don't get in a random DeLorean you just found out about 2 seconds ago. Also, don't use a skateboard that's made out of fucking a piece of plywood and four uneven wheels. Also, don't drive into a giant truck of manure because that also happens in this movie to Biff.
Maybe just don't do a lot of things that Marty does.
Don't do anything that happens in this movie. I mean, don't have sex with your mother.
Don't wear red puffy jackets.
Yeah, it's weird. Don't do that in the middle of summer. It's weird. You don't look cool. And
Are you saying Marty McFly is not cool?
I mean, you just talked about how he's not cool.
Yeah, but I could say it. Are you saying it?
You could say this movie isn't even in your top 10.
It was pretty good though.
It is pretty good. It's very good. It's in my top 10. It's in my top 5.
It's in my top 50. My top 50 isn't ranked.
Too much. Yeah, but it's not ranked. Yeah, too much. 50's too much.
Maybe it's my favorite movie ever made. You don't know.
I do know that. I do know it's not.
Maybe I changed my mind.
All right. Actually, this is really, really funny scene before we get to the ending, which might be the best ending for any movie ever. And I mean that. That's a bold statement, but I mean it. Well, we're gonna talk about that in just a sec. But before that, there's a scene where Marty's driving because Marty ends up going to the prom with Lorraine, but there's this whole plan that they came up with. The plan will be executed wrong, but it will be executed
very, very poorly.
very poorly. But he ends up driving her to the prom, and we see her pull out a cigarette, and then Marty's like, "No, don't do that. This is dumb." And then she's like, "But I also drink too." And he's like, "No, don't drink either," because he's thinking of his mom in the future, right? And then that butterfly effect that goes on. And then in the future, now she doesn't drink or smoke in the future. And there's a little, like, another fucking thing that I didn't realize the first time watching this movie. This movie really gets better with rewatches. You notice a lot of small things, especially in the end. What happens next? It's the fucking, like, the whole...
The plan to get Biff to...
Yeah.
Assault his mother.
Yeah.
and have his father save the day.
Yeah.
His wimp dad, who he teaches to fight, and by teach to fight, that he teaches him how to throw a really shitty punch.
And also before Biff shows up, before Biff is supposed to show up and like, well, actually no, it was supposed to be Marty was supposed to like they were supposed to start having sex, and then George would come up and punch Marty in the face, and that would be like, oh, my hero, and then they would fall in love.
Oh yeah, the plan was for Marty to
get punched, but what happened was Biff showed up and started actually fucking assaulting her. That's something in the movie. You can't show that on TV anymore. That's something you can't do anymore.
This eventual Hollywood remake is going to be interesting.
Why do you keep alluding to a remake?
Because it's gonna happen. I'm genuinely surprised that this hasn't happened. For context, like they were asked, like, are they ever gonna make it Back to the Future 4? And they said no. It was never gonna happen, and they compared it to trying to sell your child. I would never do that.
Whoa!
But you just know that the second those directors either die or retire or whatever, that movie's being remade. It is genuinely surprising that Back to the Future has not gotten a sequel or remake up to this point. Will it be bad? Yes, but is it gonna happen anyway? 100%.
I give it 10 years.
Give
it 10 years.
Within the next decade, we're getting a Back to the Future remake.
And that's sad because it's gonna, like Pat just said, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be terrible.
Yeah. There's no way they're gonna like punch lightning again.
Yeah, there's no way they're gonna capture the absolute perfection that was in this movie. Like, even when the original directors and writers were still alive, 2 and 3 didn't capture it. What makes you think a reboot's gonna capture it? A reboot's gonna be recasted, different people. Doc Brown's gonna be younger probably because they're gonna be like, oh, it's weird now to be best friends with a fucking old man.
Yeah, probably. Marty's gonna be hip and cool.
And it's not gonna have anything to do with Marty's parents because that's also super weird.
Yeah, like a remake of this movie would just not work. There's
Man,
too much going against this movie that it's genuinely surprising it worked out as well as it did. But they struck gold and it's never gonna happen again.
man, the times have really changed, man.
Yeah, I
Jeez.
don't think this movie could not come out for the first time today.
No.
This movie gets re-released in theaters all the time because it's that big a name, right? This movie kind of defined a generation, weirdly enough. But like this movie, as it is now, could not come out today for the first time. Audiences would not vibe with it.
Definitely not. No. It's
Audiences
like,
didn't vibe with the other two. They definitely wouldn't vibe with it today. Like I don't even know what era would you I guess to make it like haha funny they go back to 1985 and whatever the reboot is.
oh my god. You know what they're gonna do?
Uh,
They're gonna it's gonna be some guy, some new character, and he's gonna go back to 1985 and he's gonna meet Marty McFly.
I feel like Marty would be a cameo.
I mean,
Like
they
the movie.
can't. There's a 0% chance of getting Michael J. Fox back.
Oh
'Cause,
yeah, for sure. Well,
like
they would CG
he
him.
doesn't act anymore.
They would CG a young Marty anyway. But I feel like they would go back to 1985 for like some unrelated reason, and Marty would be like you would see Marty in like the diner with his dad, like at
Yeah,
the beginning of the movie.
yeah.
Like the new character would walk in while that exchange is happening, where Marty's like confused looking at his father, and that would be it. And maybe we would see Marty like performing Johnny Be Good because it's like the most famous scene in the movie.
Yeah, maybe he's gonna go to the prom or something. Whatever. But speaking of that scene, that's coming up right now. Marty goes.
No, I realized I just said that I said they were going back to 1985, but I was describing scenes that took place in
Oh,
1955.
55,
Yeah,
1955.
yeah. Yeah. If they were to go back to 85, they could just have like Marty will be like on his way to school, like on the trucks in the background. That would be it, I guess.
That'd be a cool cameo. But anyways, that movie's gonna suck. They'll
Gonna
call it
happen, mark my words.
Back to the Future 2, TOO. Coming
I made that
coming
joke
in a
earlier.
theater near you. Cool reference. Anyways,
Back to the past.
don't fucking call it that. Please don't call it Back to the Past. But that means they're going to the future in the movie. But like Back to Future 2. Oh no. We're gonna get into Back to the Future 2 next time we talk when we do the episode of Back to the Future 2 because there's a lot of stuff they got wrong. It's just really
Still
funny
waiting.
to pick at it.
I'm still waiting for self-tying shoes and hoverboards. I'm still waiting.
I'm waiting for the 3D shark to come eat me.
This could be arranged.
This could have happened. Sheeple, whatever. Instead the Biff starts, fucking up with the plan here, and this is where George has to actually confront Biff. I thought, it's kind of out of character, but like he did train him, Marty did train the whole movie for George to punch him in the face.
Yeah, that
But
was the
he
build
didn't
up.
train to punch Biff and make him to punch Biff in the face. So when I thought that when George would see Biff, he'd be like, "Oh fuck, I gotta get out of here," you know?
I mean, he kind of does. He is scared, but he does find the courage to stand up to Biff, which is cool and all. But Biff goes down in one punch
Yeah.
from like a scrawny little dude.
And
Like
then
I don't think he would have been able to hurt Marty, let alone Biff.
and then it's implied that he became Biff became his bitch later on because in
Yeah,
the future he is his bitch, just like how
Bi-
Biff was at the beginning.
that one punch turned Biff into his bitch for the rest of his life.
Which is that's the most unrealistic thing. Even though having a bully for that long is already unrealistic in itself.
We never do see like what happens during that time. Maybe other shit happened. Maybe that's something a reboot can do. Ha ha ha.
Maybe it follows
But
Biff.
maybe it follows Biff.
Can you
They could
stop
just call
talking
it
about a
Biff.
reboot?
They could just call it Biff. Hollywood hire me.
Just call it Biff.
You know, like, and then they call the sequel McFly. Easy.
They make a spin-off and call it, oh, I was about to say a spin-off of Doc Brown, but they would call it Brown.
It would just be called Doc Brown. Like, that's it.
Wait, call it Emmett.
Doc,
Call it Emmett.
Dr. Brown, the full title.
Yeah, Dr. Brown. There you go. That's a sequel. Hollywood hire us.
And they cast Hugh Laurie to play Dr. Brown.
Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
They could still do Christopher Lloyd.
Not in 10 years.
Oh yeah, not in 10 years. Oh well, it's not happening anyways. But Hollywood hire us. Maybe if you hire us, we can make it good. We don't have any movie experience at all.
I don't think so.
So yeah, call us. Give us a call. Just ring us up. The band that's playing at the dance, what the guitarist cuts his hand trying to get Marty out of the trunk because Biff locked him in the trunk. And that somehow cuts his hand like wide open, and now he can't play guitar anymore. What?
It's so bad to the point that he can't play guitar. It's kind of crazy.
How do you get cut trying to open the trunk? And they didn't even do anything. They just the trunk was stuck, and they just pried it open. How do you get cut on the hand, on the palm of your hand, so badly that you can't play the guitar anymore? But oh, thank God, Marty knows how to play the guitar, so he starts playing Earth Angel.
Marty's like a musician that his parents don't believe in his time. So this is Marty's moment to prove to himself that he's his dreams are worth it. Because that's another thing that we didn't bring up when we talked about the earlier parts of the movie. Is his parents are just super they're very real, not even realistic. They're realistic to an extreme. Where don't have dreams. Just do something feasible for the rest of your life and be comfortable instead of being happy. That's how they are. And Marty wants to be a musician, right? So that's not gonna fly. Marty McFly.
So now you could say that Marty, he's about to save his parents. You could say he's an Earth Angel. Huh?
I had understood that reference.
Yeah, because he plays a song called Earth Angel, which is such a good fucking song. And this scene, that the whole scene from when he starts playing Earth Angel to when he stops playing Earth Angel, that right there, that whole scene this is a big one, the best scene in cinema history. Okay?
It's really good.
Quote me on that. Quote me on it.
I don't know if I agree with that statement, but it's pretty good.
The Earth Angel scene in Back to the Future is the single greatest scene in cinema history. Okay? Everything gets tied up perfectly. And you see some guy just pushes George away. He's like, "Get off. It's my turn to dance with your girlfriend." Wow, the 50s sucked. That probably doesn't happen.
I think assholes are assholes, right? The assholes exist in every era, right?
I love you in every universe.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that, but okay.
It's like, I hate you in every universe. Go fuck yourself. Anyway,
yeah, go fuck you.
Fuck yourself. George pushes this guy away, and then they kiss, and that's when they fall in love, like what Lorraine was talking about at the beginning of the movie. And everyone's okay. Just that one kiss saved all three kids somehow. I don't know. Who knows how love works? I didn't figure it out yet. Surely. Yeah.
It's a cute moment. I think obviously the movie's building up to that, but I think they tie it up very, very well. So well that they have time for a musical number before we have to deal with the Swedish Mafia. Yeah, that's where Johnny V. Good is, and that's where all the jokes come from. And we're gonna move on.
That's where the Family Guy joke. Here's a song by a gay guy, and then they rickroll everyone. Good Family Guy
Yeah,
joke.
we have to go back in time because Doc Brown is gonna get murdered by the Swedish mafia.
Oh,
Which, by the way, when we rewatched the movie, I completely forgot there was a plot point because it just comes back up like, oh yeah, right, you're correct.
Doc is dead. But before that, there's my favorite joke in the movie where like because at the end, like after he plays Johnny Be Good, he goes to the mic and he's like, well, I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet, but your kids are gonna love it.
It's a good joke.
It's a very, oh, he didn't laugh. And
It's not even it's not a good joke.
there's also later where he's like talks to his parents. He's like, "What when your kid sets fire to the living room rug, go easy on him."
Yeah, I don't know anything about movies. I have never actually seen a movie or watched a TV show in my life.
Really?
Yeah,
So
is it all that? Is that really surprising?
yeah, I mean, then how do you know so much about Back to the Future?
Spark Notes.
So like at the beginning of before we record, you just go in Spark Notes and
No, I
read up.
prepared in advance. I like write scripts.
You write scripts.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good for you, honestly. I mean, I think that's more impressive than actually watching the movie.
Gotta be prepared for everything.
See, Hollywood, hire him. He writes his own scripts.
I have a plan for every conversation.
Wow. You're planning ahead there. Good. That's good. That's good ethic right there. Good ethic. Anyways, back to the movie, Back to the Future. So now we're at the climax where they have to like go back to the future. And the whole setup they do is just insane because there's this lightning strike that hits a clock tower at exactly a specific time, and they got to catch it to like make it like give the car enough power to go, because there's no plutonium that's just easily found in 1955, as if there's plutonium that's easily found in any era.
But it was easier in the 80s.
Yeah, it was easier to get it from a Swedish mafia. So
That plot point is so weird.
So he ends up the whole plan works somehow. Marty writes a letter to Doc Brown about how he's gonna die and how it happens, and just to prepare him for it, so he can save himself. But Doc he rips it up, and that might come up later.
That might come up later.
So lightning hits the tower, and then bam, he goes back to the future. And that lightning, it looks good. Like the special effects in this movie are actually pretty good.
Yeah, this movie looks great.
My father actually, he was telling me, because he saw it in theaters. This movie, he was able to watch it when it came out, and he was a teenager or something. So he was like he was a nerd. He liked Star Wars.
Also, it was just like Marty.
Yeah. And he said seeing that in theaters was insane. Like, it was crazy. He said seeing that in theaters.
For the time, like the VFX looked like amazing. I could definitely see, like, especially younger people, like teenagers, being like super impressed with what this movie was putting out for the time.
Yeah, for sure. But now we're back in 1985. We said goodbye to 1955, but now it's the part that everyone forgets in the movie, the part where they have to go fight the Swedish mafia.
Yep, and that's where the note Marty left for Doc comes in.
Yeah, because the Swedish mafia thinks Doc is dead, but he was actually wearing a bulletproof vest.
That he wore because he ripped up the letter, but he actually taped it back together because he was curious, and he survives. Yay!
Yay! And now Marty's life is way better now.
His life's good.
Yeah, his life is good now because now Biff is George's bitch now.
Yeah, his parents are happy and they're together.
His parents are happy and sober, yeah, and rich. And his siblings are like, they have like really good jobs. It's like having sex with his mom was the best thing that ever happened to his family.
I hate that sentence. I hate that sentence. But that's exactly what the movie portrays, right? But I hate that statement so much.
With that, the movie's over. Well, but not before a cliffhanger ending. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads.
And then the vehicle from GTA Online shows up.
The Deluxo. Yeah, the one from GTA Online. Yes.
Yeah, that's sequel bait. If you want to hear what we think about that sequel, you're gonna have to come back in
A
a
long
couple
time.
months. Couple of months.
But yeah, that's Back to the Future. It's I
Really,
mean,
really good movie.
if you have an afternoon to spare, watch it. It's just good. Like get background noise. It's amazing. It's like it's my favorite to just sit down and watch it, just have fun. Every time you watch it, it gets better because you have like different details that you're just now pointing out, you know?
Yeah, there's like generally like nothing I think is bad. Like I just like this movie a lot. It's fun. It's fun, and that's what's important.
It's really really good. I gave it 5 out of 5. I think it's one of the best movies
I
ever made.
I also gave it a 5 out of 5.
I mean, just the writing alone is. I mean, if I don't know if this movie ever won any Oscars, but if it didn't win Best Writing, I'll be shocked. Let me look it up. What was Best Picture in 1986?
Out of Africa.
What is that? I haven't seen any of these movies. The Color Purple. You seeing this?
I'm looking at it right now. Where are the Best Picture nominees? Was Best Picture even a category at this point? Yeah, it is. It's
No, no,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah. Out of Africa won Best Picture.
It's of the Spider Woman, Prizzy's Honor, and Witness. I don't know what any of these movies are.
Out of Africa also won Best Writing. Oh, Back to the Future was a nominee. All right, we looked it up. Not only were we surprised that it didn't even get nominated for Best Picture, it Out of Africa won Best Picture in 1986, whatever that is. But Best Writing for Original Screenplay, which used to be named Best Writing for a Screenplay Written Directly for the Screen.
Those are words.
Yeah. The winner was a Witness, but Back to the Future was nominated, and that is the only nominate. Oh, Back to the Future won Best Sound Effects, which is not a category anymore.
Yep.
Now it's Best Sound, just sound editing. That one Best Sound Effects, whatever that means. But yeah, there we go. But now before we move on to Backlogged, we're gonna just mention something right now, just real quick. Pat and I have decided to drop hot off the presses for good.
Yeah, I don't think it's something either of us really like spending time on. It's not super interesting content for you guys. I feel like if you care, you're probably already following the related Twitter accounts to get all this information on. So yeah, we're gonna stick talking about movies.
Yeah, we're just gonna stick to the movies, not the news. But we might also talk about some TV shows because we're gonna try something a little different here. So there's a lot of shows that come out on Disney Plus, and we usually watch all of them. I mean, I didn't watch The Bad Batch, but let's just whatever. So right now, Miss Marvel is airing. Also, Obi-Wan Kenobi, but that's too far gone. The last episode is coming out this week, so forget about that. You might get an episode dedicated to it, though. Stay tuned. Ooh, spoilers. This segment might get cut out because we're not sure. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it in the editing process. We're not sure if, about this segment to begin with. It doesn't have a name yet, but we're just gonna talk about the latest episode of the latest show that we want to talk about. How this is gonna work, how we think this is gonna work, is after we finish talking about the featured movie for that episode, we'll just quickly go over a small review of an episode of a show that is going on right now. Or we might just pick a show and then go episode by episode or something like that. We don't know how it's gonna work yet. But Miss Marvel is going on right now. Pat didn't watch the second episode yet, but I watched the first two. But we'll talk about the first two episodes right now, just super quickly, like a 10-minute thing.
I watched one. I watched episode 1.
I watched episode 1 and 2. 1 is definitely better than episode 2.
I've heard nothing about 2. I've kind of I want to say I stayed spoiler free because I haven't really been going out of my way either. Like I've kind of just been really chill with this one. I thought episode was pretty good overall. It has a lot of charm. It has a lot of like visual character. Like it reminds me a lot of of Spider-Verse and how like the background pops and there's like things going on in the background. There's little animations everywhere. There's this scene that's kind of taken right out of Spider-Man PS4 where like Kamala is having a conversation via text with her friend, and like the texts are going on like billboards and signs
Yeah.
in the background of the scene. I thought that was really cool. The first episode has a lot of charm in it, and I think if the rest of the show can keep up that same level of charisma, I think the show is going to be pretty good in the end. Yeah, I thought the first episode was fine. Otherwise, I don't like Kamala's powers here. I don't really care for a lot of the characters personally, but I kind of need to give them more time.
There is an Italian.
There's a spaghetti. Yeah, I think like the first episode was like pretty good. It was pretty all right. I will probably watch the rest of the show, and I'll have more to say in the coming weeks, either here or just in with Lib or on social media and stuff. If you want to hear my thoughts.
Yeah, and I agree with everything Pat said for the first episode, especially with the powers not being. I mean, like, I get that the MCU takes liberties, but they straight up changed her powers. Like that's not she's not cosmic in either the shows or any of the other in the shows the comics and anything that she's portrayed in. She's an inhuman in the comics.
Yeah, I heard episode 2 has something that kind of implies that like she's still an Inhuman.
I have watched episode 2. They didn't name drop Inhuman, but what they did say is that the powers are coming from within her, but the bracelet that she's wearing just like activated the powers.
So like maybe she will get like the stretchy powers later. Maybe.
Well, she does enlarge her hand in the first episode to catch the boulder.
Yeah, but
that's gonna fall.
she does it with
With the
like
cosmic.
with the projection, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe later, like when her powers manifest like from herself and not with like the wristband, maybe she'll actually just have Mr. Fantastic's powers.
Yeah, but then she won't be able to fly, and I guess that's a big thing for the Marvels when that comes out because they're gonna work together.
No, like she can fly.
She can fly?
I'm pretty sure she can fly naturally. Like it's just part of like her powers aren't Mr. Fantastic. It's just they're very similar.
Yeah, I know. Her powers are like, I don't know if like Stefano tried clearing it up. I don't know if he's right, but it's not that she's stretchy. It's more so that she could enlarge
Yeah.
a part of her body.
Yeah.
It's not that she's super stretchy like Mr.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. She just makes them bigger and longer. She isn't like she's not able to like wrap her like arms in like a corkscrew like around people and
Yeah,
hold them
and
like
she
Mr.
can
Fantastic can.
like contort or like,
Yeah.
you know, she could just stretch and make stuff bigger.
Yeah.
Can she shrink herself too?
No.
No?
She can just
Okay.
make them bigger and longer.
And uncut.
Yeah, I haven't seen 2, so I'm gonna hold off on Lib talking about 2 because I do plan on seeing that.
Yeah, so just a spoiler-free review of episode 2, because we're not really gonna go over episode 2 next episode. We're gonna go over in episode 3. It's not as good, I don't think. I think episode 2 is very boring. There's not a lot of superhero stuff going on. It's very much a character building episode, which is needed. You know, it's needed.
Yeah, these are new characters that are being introduced to in the MCU for the first time, but also to general audiences for the first time. So these characters kind of do need some spotlight.
But there were some jokes that were really, really funny. There's a joke about Bon Jovi in that episode that made me die of laughter. Like, it's one of the funniest jokes in the MCU. Like, there's a part where the mom says, "If it weren't for slippery when wet, your father and I would not have met." And I thought that was the funniest joke.
It's a good joke. Yeah, the elephant in the room. I don't know if, like, I don't want to really get into it because I haven't seen the episode, and 2, I'm not qualified to talk about it. But apparently there is a like racial term dropped that got some people riled up. I can't speak on it. I haven't seen the episode, but that is a thing. We are not blatantly ignoring it. I haven't seen it, so I'm not talking about it.
I have seen it and I didn't hear it. Oh well, I guess I'll look it up on Twitter later.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's our very short review of the first 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel. Maybe next episode, since Pat would have seen the second episode, And
Yeah, maybe I'll briefly go into 2, and then we'll probably have seen 3.
yeah.
So we'll talk about 3.
Yeah, so let us know if you like this segment because we're trying to find a way to implement TV shows because they're really hard to make single episodes of. Like we tried it with WandaVision, and it didn't go too well.
I like the WandaVision episode, but a problem I tend to have with recording TV shows is we'll start a TV show, and it'll be like we watch 1 or 2 episodes, and be like, yeah, let's do an episode on this, and but then the show will end, and we'll both be like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. You know?
Yeah, and then also like it's really hard to like review the whole show because like even in the WandaVision episode we were jumping from like episode 1 to 5 and then back to 3 and then to 6 and then it was all crazy. I'm really optimistic about Miss Marvel. I think it's really cute and I hope it's good. Like I really hope it is.
I hope it's good just because I want to see more of this character and other stuff.
Yeah, we know the ending to this is somehow gonna lead into the Captain Marvel sequel. Like that, it's like that's like this is the build up to that. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna show. Maybe Carol Danvers will show up in the last episode.
I also really want to see some Kamala Khan and Spider-Man interaction because I think their stuff from the comics is really cute. There's your Spider-Man reference from Pat for today.
Oh, there hasn't been one in a while. There's supposed to be one per episode. Pat, come on.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure they come up every episode, but I haven't pointed it out in a while.
But now we're gonna move on to the last part of today, Backlogged, the segment where we recommend each other movies to talk about, and I'm gonna let Pat take it away because, well, he'll tell you.
Last time, Libertino recommended me Zootopia, a movie I'm surprised I had not seen up until now. It's a movie like literally all my like people I speak to regularly, including my friends and family, and literally everybody online I talk to has seen it except me. Finally saw Zootopia. I thought it was pretty all right. It's pretty good.
What rating did you give it?
I gave it 4. I think 4 or 5.
You gave it 4.
I'm gonna confirm, but yeah, I think I gave it like a 4.
You should
I
keep
gave it I gave it a
Letterboxd
4.
open.
Yeah, I did give it a 4.
Okay, good.
Of the 3 movies we watched that day, it was the best one.
Oh my god, we did watch 3 movies that day.
I watched 4, but yeah.
No, I think you watched 3 and I watched 2, right?
You came in at the end of that Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah, because he watched The Spy Next Door, and then I came in at the very end, and then we watched R.I.P.D. And then we watched Zootopia.
Yeah, then I think I watched One Piece Strong World that same like by myself that same night. Or it might have been like the day after. I started it like before midnight, then I finished it after midnight. So I logged it as the next day. I don't remember. I feel like it was the same day.
Whenever I log something at midnight, even if I start the movie at midnight, I log it as if I watched it the day before because I count it as like
I usually do too, but I might have logged this one like just like incorrectly because I was like I logged it immediately after I finished the movie, and it was like 1 a.m. and I was tired.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what'd you think?
I thought Zootopia was pretty good. I've heard a lot about it. Like it's hard not to know about what happens in this movie, but it actually delved into the whole racism thing a lot more than I thought it was going to. Like for some reason, I expected Disney to be like a little more subtle with it, but they handle the topic pretty like seriously, and I think it's handled pretty well. I like the characters a lot. Actually, I like Judy Hopps and
Yeah, Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I like the cast overall pretty well. I don't like the twist villain here. I think the twist is really stupid here.
This movie made me hate twist villains. It was this one.
I'm not against twist villains usually. I think if they can genuinely take you by surprise, they're fun. This one kind of comes out of nowhere though. Don't enjoy it. This is also the second twist villain of this movie. Like there's a twist villain where you think it's the mayor, but then it's actually the head of police, and then it turns out he's being framed, and it's the secretary, right? But
it's the prey, it's the meek prey, not the scary predator, you know?
And look, I get the point that they're going for, is that even like I get it, but I just don't. I think it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, the message is you would think going into this movie that the racial message is like very subtle, but near the end, like especially in the third act, they really go into it, and it's actually very good. Like it works great as a message.
I really like the way they trick the villain in the end. I think that was really Really
Yeah,
cool.
it's like a pseudo heist movie a little bit. There is a very, very not subtle Breaking Bad reference in this movie.
Oh yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah, the names of the sheep are straight up. Even they're it's Jesse and Walter. Like, but it's Walter because they're sheep. Why? Or is it Walter? I can't remember which joke they
And
went
I
for.
think it's Walter.
Can't remember which joke they went with. But like my favorite part of this movie is when like Judy's doing like a press conference and then like Nick is listening to this and she's like, racial profiling. And then she goes back to Nick, who's a predator, and she's prey because she's a rabbit and Nick is a fox, so he's predator. So he's like, oh no. She was like, what? He was like, why are you talking about predators like they're so dangerous? What the hell? We've been working together this whole case. And she's like, well, but you're not like them. That's the best line in the movie. He goes, so there's a them now. It's like, whoa, that is powerful for a kids movie.
It's a really good moment, especially in a kids movie.
Like, there's also a really really there's like they're on the train. There's a mother and her kid. I think they're bunnies or something. Tiger walks up, sit next to them. He's just reading a book. She just pulls her kid close to her, like, oh, he's a dangerous predator. It's such a it's such a strong message.
Yeah, I'm surprised with how far they take it. It's handled gracefully.
And like usually when Disney tackles a problem like this, they butcher it very badly. But Zootopia was great.
Yeah, I really I kind of wish I got to see this in theaters because it's animated like super well.
Yeah, the animation's really good. Like the most harmless character in this movie is the tiger at the front of the desk.
Yeah, and he has this little moment where it's like, oh, they're putting me in the back because they don't want a predator to be the first thing you see when you walk into the police station. It's so sad.
It's a really good movie. The worst part is Shakira though. She plays a gazelle and has a terrible song. But that's
I
just
didn't
me.
mind the song.
Let's try everything. It's so annoying. It's really I don't like it.
Yeah, it's your opinion. I don't really have a problem with it personally, but I also don't remember it. So.
I mean, I like Shakira. I love Shakira, but that song sucks. Yeah, I mean, I also gave it 4 stars. So yeah, I thought it was a surprise that Pat hadn't seen it. So I'm glad you liked it. I really am because it's actually my favorite cop movie.
Yeah, I liked it. It was fun, but to pay you back for showing me that fun movie.
This is actually wait, hold on, before you say this. Fun fact, this is only the second time in the history of this show that I know what he's recommending me. The first time was the first episode.
And I told him beforehand.
I guessed it though.
Because Lib, a couple of weeks ago, I told you that we were gonna watch the X-Men movies,
Yeah.
and if you didn't watch X2 in a timely manner, I would recommend it to you because I really want to cover Logan on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we've already seen X2. We watched X2 together, and X2 is really good. But Lib, it's been like a month or two. It's time for you to watch X3.
Pat, I know what I'm recommending you next week.
Yeah, I know. I have a week to watch this movie on my own, so you can't recommend it to me.
Yeah, if you don't, it's the recommendation.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's going to be Angry Birds 2.
Yeah, I know.
I'm telling you, it's not as bad as the first one.
I don't believe you.
Liz, we'll get into it when we watch it. And I say when we watch it, because we will, even if I don't recommend it to you.
It's gonna get recommended to me eventually.
But yeah, alright, X3. Apparently the third worst one. Because this is what I hear. I hear the worst one is Origins, and the second worst one is the Wolverine, and then this is the third worst one. That's what I hear.
I think this is worse than the Wolverine.
You think this is worse than the Wolverine?
You mean X-Men Origins Wolverine, don't you?
Yeah, no. I think people say X-Men Origins Wolverine is the worst one.
Yeah, I agree.
And then they say the Wolverine is the second worst, and X3 is the worst.
I think this is a bit worse than the Wolverine. I think X-Men Apocalypse is also worse than the Wolverine.
Oh, I'm thinking just the original timeline.
Oh yeah. Then I think this is worse than the Wolverine.
Like post reboots, then yeah, probably Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix sucks too.
Yeah.
They all suck. I just thought of they all post reboot. They all suck.
No, Days of Future Past and First Class are good. The
Oh
first
yeah,
two are good.
Days of Future Past was post reboot.
Yep, yep.
Oh well, yeah, there you go. Well, I guess next week we'll be talking about X3, and Pat already knows that I'm recommending him, so he's dreading it.
Yeah, well, I'm not dreading it. I'm dreading it because I've been putting it off for too long.
Yeah, because it's a 9
But
movie marathon. Yeah.
but it is a movie I want to watch. I've just been like procrastinating. So
Yeah, well, maybe let's here. It's a game for you guys watching at home, listening to at home or in your car or out on a walk, because you know it is a podcast. You know, I keep thinking, I keep saying like watch and record and stuff like that as if it's a video, but I mean, I think I remember like last episode you accidentally said stream, and a couple episodes ago I also accidentally said stream. We're on a lot of things. And you know where you could find all of those things? On our link tree. linktr.ee/fresh off the reel. You could find our socials and our Letterboxd accounts. And from the fresh off the reel socials, you can branch off to our personal socials, which then will probably have like streams and YouTubes and stuff like that. You know. And also, next episode, stay tuned. Don't miss it. Go ahead and follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube because you don't want to miss it, because next episode, we're talking about the newest addition to Pixar's lineup, Lightyear. Cool name, guys. Couldn't think of anything better. Imagine if it was just called Buzz.
I think it would have been funnier if it was just called Buzz.
B-movie. The movie is actually out already at the time of recording this, and we're going to watch it this week, but the reviews are out. I'm not looking at them. I'm trying not to see them, but like I see, like I just like come across them naturally, and a lot of people are not liking it is what I'm seeing.
I've heard it's all right. Someone I talked to who is generally really easy to please, and two, just like is just a very hyper person in general. Gave it like a 6 to 7 out of 10. So like that doesn't bode well for us. But yeah.
Well, I mean, like in the animation department, just from the trailers, it looks like Pixar has truly mastered animation at this point.
I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm still looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Because the review I'm seeing a lot of is that people are saying that Chris Evans' voice ruined it, is what I hear. Yeah, that's what I hear. I don't know if it's actually true or just people hating on Chris Evans or wanting Tim Allen back. I think it's just that. But hey, well, you'll figure out next episode when we talk about Lightyear. And thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen. Make sure to give us your recommendations. Top of the link tree, click on that first button there, and you could recommend us a film or a movie so that we could talk about it on the podcast. We'll shout you out when the recommendation comes up. We actually have one coming very soon, actually, very soon. In like within the next 5 episodes, you'll have a new rec. But with that being said, we will see all of you in a theater near you. Good night, everybody.
Bye bye.